Yo, what's going on, everyone? So I got a call today from a young lady who's aspiring to become a top agent in the Bay Area, and she called me to get some advice because she just passed her real estate exam. And if you know me, you know damn well I don't like the game. I'm a straight shooter. I keep it honest and I keep it real. And so I started to explain to her all of the fees and the different nuances and the different things that go into becoming a successful agent, but right away the upfront cost. And I started going over with her how she could avoid some of the upfront costs. And one of the things that stood out in the conversation, I realized that a lot of people don't know this, and this is in regards to your associations, real estate associations. Do we really need real estate associations? I don't know. Real estate associations, they've been around for decades. But in today's market, I don't think we really need them. Right? Like, who are they? They're groups like the National Association of Realtors. They have state and local real estate associations. And to keep it honest with you, they charge hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. And they have these mandatory dues that you have to pay. And that yields them hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But, I mean, for the most part, all we get out of them is the access to the MLS. And you don't really need them to access the MLS. The MLS is the multiple listing service. And that service is what we all subscribe to, so that when we list a property or when we want to search a property, it gets all out there on the web, and it gets the information is transcribed to every agent who's a part of that system. That's an old, archaic business model. Now you have tech, right? So the MLS now, if you list a property on the MLS, it automatically goes out to your Zillows, Redfins, Trulias. They have paid for that licensure and that relationship, right? Great. You don't necessarily need an association to access the MLS to access that technology. You can go directly to the MLS and subscribe, right? And not only that, even the MLS, you don't necessarily need the MLS to sell a property. You can subscribe directly to the tech sites. And these are the search engines to where clients, prospective buyers, look for properties. They don't search the MLS for properties. They search the websites, the search engines. Right? So that's the main reason people want to join associations, is because they get that access to the MLS and access to use things like this, which is an older technology. This is a Supra box, right? And I'm an Alameda County. I'm a part of an Alameda County association. So this works in all 9 counties of Alameda. I'm also a part of the Solano Association and the San Francisco Association, as well as Contra Costa. So this box works in all of those, but I pay the fees for this box to work. And all this is if I have a listing, I hook this thing up on the front door, and this allows agents to access it. Not only that, it also captures the data of the agents that access this box, so that we know who is going in and out of your property. So this is a very important piece. It provides a security. It provides security for prospective clients when people are accessing their homes, and it allows that access. Great. It's a technology that works. Get it out of here. Ooh, I hope I didn't break it. You can go to Home Depot and buy a lockbox. Period. And for an agent to access it, they would have to contact you, and you can vet them before they go in there. Granted. So that's not that big of a deal in 2026. But anyway, there are benefits to joining associations, to be fair, right? There's the MLS access, the standardized contracts. Standardized contracts are huge, right? Because the contracts are what protect your clients legally, right? These are legally binding situations that you enter into, and you want to make sure that you have the correct language within the contracts, so that if there's ever a situation where your clients would have to show up to court, these legally binding documents are the things that protect your clients. However, you have businesses like LegalZoom. You have so many document prep services out there to where really it's not the document that's valuable, it's the language within the document. So once you understand your needs, it's pretty much a copy and paste. You can call LegalZoom and tell them, hey, I need a document produced that has these 5 things in it to protect my client in these 5 areas, and they'll produce it for a little bit of nothing. So that right there tells you how valuable are the California standardized contracts. They're not really that valuable. I do mortgages as well. I do real estate and I do mortgages. So I've serviced clients who have come to me on the mortgage side with a contract that they just downloaded off the internet. One site was free simple forms. You go right on there and you type in the type of contract you need. They'll spit it out for you and it upholds. So as a mortgage broker, I look at this contract. I read it because I'm a real estate broker as well. It has all the protections in it. I process the mortgage using that free contract that was downloaded off the internet. So why am I paying an association $2,200 a year for these type of tools that I can access for a little bit of nothing? So I don't know, but they do have legal hotlines as well. So that's the case. If you're ever in any type of legal trouble, you're able to call the hotline and get some legal advice. Not representation, just legal advice. I'll say it again, not representation, just legal advice. So that's a lawyer that you wait on the phone on hold for an hour and 30 minutes. And then when he gets on the phone with you, he's like, hey, what's going on? Okay, hey, you can do this, you can do that. And that's all I'm allowed to say. And they get off the phone. Again, that's $35 a month, LegalZoom. You get your legal calls. And I'm not advocating for LegalZoom, but what I am explaining to you guys is that some of these benefits are outdated when it comes to joining real estate associations. For any of the new agents or any of the old agents, yeah, and another benefit would be branding recognition. So you're able to go and represent yourself to a client and say, hey, I'm a part of this realtor association. You can wear the pin and it's supposed to give you more credibility. But in reality, no one's really checking for that. I've closed a lot of homes and a lot of loans, and no one has ever asked me what association I belong to. Ever. And I've sold fixer-uppers to $1 million homes, $1 million plus homes, apartment complexes, you name it. I've sold it. Not one time have anyone ever asked me, what association do you belong to? I need to do that. I need to fact check this or that. So I don't know. I don't know. I think today's agent, these are the facts, and I just want to leave you guys with the facts. Today's agents, they can access the MLS through independent memberships. You can also buy a transaction management software. They are all over the web as well for things like $20 a month. You can have a dope transaction management software. The online education is everywhere. You can even call me for some education, but there are workshops, there are online mentors and online education. There's a plethora of knowledge out there that's available to you. And as far as digital marketing tools, again, it's everywhere. You don't have to, you can just type it in on your phone and it comes up 20 or 30 different sources for some digital marketing. So you can access all of that without paying association dues, thousands and thousands of dollars of association dues, especially for the new agents. I'm advocating right now for the new agents, not your seasoned agents that understand how to utilize different tools and different services and already have, clients rolling in and rolling out. You already have that funnel of clients that are circulating in your business. You already have that. So in that case, some of these associations could work, but for a new agent, and a lot of these real estate agents, real estate is very easy. It's very easy to obtain the license. So it's a predatory business, right? It's just like you go to court, you go to class for 1 month, and then you can pass the exam, and all of a sudden you're a realtor. So it's not like you're going to law school or some shit like that. You can get this license very easy. And so people prey upon that. So with that said, you have a lot of cats that come into the business and they just get preyed upon and they just spend all their money and they never make a dime. So I'm one of the honest brokers that's going to tell you straight up, hey man, save your money, get a good mentor like myself. And I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help guide you, and I'm gonna help you save some money, and I'm gonna help you really figure out whether or not you want to do this, and help you leverage your resources, and give you some resources so that you can at least get your footing before you move to that next level. Right now, you don't need to be a real. I mean, think about it. You don't need to be a realtor to even buy or sell a house, right? If you want to represent someone, you do need a state license. And you get your license. You don't need to be a part of an association to do that. You just need to understand the contracts and have your state license to do so. That's it. That's it. So that conversation was taken public because the conversation I had with the young lady was taken public because I think it's valuable. I'm never going to get on here and give you something that's not valuable. And it's not only for your up-and-coming real estate agents, but I do want you guys to call me if you want to know what really happens behind the scenes on the lending side and on the real estate side, so you can get the game for real, not for fake, not for play. You don't got to pay me a dime to get the game. So hit me up, shoot me a DM, or hit me at mark@curve31.com, and we can go through it. We can get to it. But this information is not only for the up-and-coming agents. This is also for, us black realtors, especially, I'll just go on this small tangent. We were discriminated against in the early days of real estate. We were discriminated against heavily. They wouldn't even allow us to use the term realtor. That's why there's a term realtist. I've been taught that from that group. That's why that group exists, and that's a very valuable group. But again, you don't need to pay a bunch of fees to get the job done. Even for the consumers, right? Our clients. Just understand, it's very important that you understand the costs that are associated with performing a transaction, right? A lot of times, some of these costs are passed on to the consumers as well, right? If I'm paying so much money for licensing fees, and then you go to some brokerage and you're paying all these training fees and this and that, those costs are passed on to the consumers, our clients, the person that wants to come and sell their home, or the buyer that's looking to buy a home, and they're signing these buyer agent commission agreements and things of that sort. So you just got to be careful.